Hi, guys. Welcome to my very first live stream. Today I'm going to talk about Mama Gina's School of Womanly Arts, written by Regina Thomashauer. I'm actually just going to review her first chapter, which is A Case for Pleasure, and my personal take on it. As part of my goddess coaching practice, I love applying Mama Gina's theories and ideas and just her whole concepts to what I practice with. So she's kind of the foundation and she's sort of my beginning for my interest in goddess anything, goddess coaching, goddess being. Yeah, so as a tribute to her and an honoring of her, I'm going to start sharing with her as part of my basics, because she really is where I got my start from. So we're going to start with her very first chapter. I'm just going to go over some of her concepts and what that means as far as where I stand. So, A Case for Pleasure. Um, she's very much talking about how pleasure is important in everyday life. Everyday life and everything that you do. And we have been told that it's not okay to have pleasure. And we've also been geared around this idea that pleasure is sinful in some way. But let's talk about the many ways that you can experience pleasure. The many ways, whether that is enjoying the food that you're eating, being mindful, being present, being conscious in the moment, and actually just being happy with where you are and what's going on around you and who you're with and how that feels, uh, texture wise, whether you're eating something or touching something or even emotionally. So, uh, pleasure goes a long way. It's not just sexual, it's not just sensual, which are awesome places to experience pleasure, but there's just so much more going on. So, the importance of applying this in everyday life. Let's start with all you have to do is to choose to feel good. Let's I mean, in any given moment, you can be having all the pleasure that you want just by choosing to feel good. So let's say you just barely tuned into this show and maybe you're not really enjoying what I'm saying, and then you decide, I'm going to enjoy what she's saying. It's that simple. You did it. Now you're enjoying what I'm saying. It's just a choice. It's always better to have a choice than to not have a choice. And very much that comes from being conscious. So, taking that opportunity in every given moment, whether you have to go to work today and you don't want to be there, but you choose to focus on something that makes you feel good, whether that's that hot cup of coffee in your hand or the way the chair feels on your back, or maybe you're up and moving about and you like being able to move your body and it feels good to get some activity in during the day, even if you don't have time to go to the gym. Or maybe you're working with children, and although they're very loud some of the time, they also have those very sweet moments of innocence and playfulness and curiosity that just kind of remind you what it's like to be innocent, to not have all of these preconceived notions and guilt and shame in the way of keeping you from experiencing life. So let's incorporate that idea that it is so easy to feel good in any given moment just by choosing to feel good in any given moment. And it really does benefit you and everyone else. If something doesn't feel good, don't do it. Very simple. Just don't do it. I mean, some things you have to do, some things you choose to do because there's some benefit for it. But let's say it's something that you don't have to do. Maybe it's something like you don't want to go to a party. Just don't do it. It's that simple. You don't have to. And you don't have to guilt yourself for not going. You're saving yourself from whatever it is that's going on there that your body, your spirit, your mind really doesn't want to be a part of, whether that's a certain energy, a certain person, a certain interaction. You just don't want to participate in that. It's okay to not do it. But feel your way, and please be aware whether or not you're going because you're going, or whether or not you're avoiding it because it's something that you're afraid of, or if it's something that you're feeling you shouldn't participate in. There's a difference there of conquering your fears versus listening to your intuition. So get to know the difference, practice tuning in, and just asking, is this something that I'm avoiding because I'm afraid of it? Or is this something that just doesn't feel right? And you pretty much know what the case is. If you generally like going to parties and you just don't feel like going to this one, that's kind of the indicator, right? Whereas if you don't want to go to any party ever and you never have, that's more of a, I'm probably afraid of something at that party, at all parties, whether that's people or having to show up because you're an introvert, whatever it is. So become aware of the difference of being afraid versus trusting or feeling out your intuition. And then listen to your intuition. If you have a fear, maybe you need to listen to that too and just find out what that fear is and where it's coming from and what it is you need to do about it to be able to move forward. There's a thought. Being conscious, right? Okay. She has a statement in her book that says, pleasure comes from giving yourself permission to explore your appetites freely with no guilt. Okay, I absolutely adore this quote because we are raised on guilt and toxic shame. And from the time we are little, our innocence is stripped from us slowly and thoroughly and completely until we are adults and we forget that it's okay to play, and we forget that it's okay to enjoy life, and we forget that it's okay to be a person and to ask for what we want and to draw boundaries and to just be real, and it very much becomes a practice of reclaiming that innocence and that right to be and that right to create and that right to speak our truth. That is a beautiful thing about kids, right? Even to the point of speaking their truth. Oh my goodness. So I was walking with my partner the other day, and we were just walking around the park because we love to walk, and these little kids walk past us, and one of them says to my guy, he says, hello, sir, all polite and well behaved, right? And there's a bunch of these kids, and my partner says to them, hello, little people. And they didn't really take that well. It might not have been the best phrasing. He just was trying to encompass all of them. And I think when they said sir, it made him feel kind of larger and authoritarian. So he said, hello, little people. And he was trying to be nice, but I don't think they took it that well. And so their response was, hello, fat people, big fat people. And they took it and they ran with it. And neither of us are that big and neither of us are that fat, but it just came right out anyway. We thought it was hilarious that their filter just completely disappeared because he used a descriptive word instead of just saying, hello, young man, or hello, young person, young, he said little, and then they had to find the opposite of little, and it was just very funny. And then it got worse. And then they started saying all sorts of terrible things. So we just ignored them and kept walking and just laughed at them because we thought it was funny that they even started with big fat people. We're like, wow, okay, your manners gone. And we weren't in a space to feel like we needed to shame them or correct them or whatever. We were just enjoying our time. We had fun laughing at them. It was okay. So anyways, the whole point is, what was the point? Going back to just being authentic, being real, speaking your truth, and loving that kids can do just that. It's fun. So the next point I'd like to make is the more filled up you are, the more you have to give. So if you're taking time for pleasure on a regular basis and you are filling up yourself, your soul, your life with joy and moments of beauty and whatnot, then you have that much more to give. One thing I always like to touch on because it means a lot to me is the Native American concept of walk-in beauty. And it's my understanding is very much that to walk in beauty is what separates us from the animals, right? We set our intention to bring beauty into this world. We set our intention to see beauty, to make beauty, to wear beauty, to share beauty, and that's the same as pleasure, right? Everything that you incorporate where you are bringing in the feel goods, mostly in beauty. I mean, beauty and feel goods are the same thing, right? Beauty and everything makes you feel good as long as you're willing to see it or experience it on some level. So I love that concept of walking in beauty, which I guess we could turn into walking in pleasure. What if every step you took was one filled with pleasure? What if you literally took the time to just enjoy every step that you took and how it feels to walk and how it feels to breathe while you walk and how it feels to walk on the grass or the sidewalk or the walkway or through the water or through the mud or through the snow and just enjoyed it. Be conscious, be present, and just enjoy it. Whatever that is. If you're walking through the snow, enjoy how much you drop through the snow or how difficult it is to stay up standing or whatever it is that you're experiencing, you choose to enjoy it. And that's awesome. So, next. Oh, well, actually, touching on that a little bit more, the more filled up you are, the more you have to give. So, I want to not stress that point, but touch on it again in that we often feel like we're not allowed to have fun, like it's not okay, like we're doing something wrong, and or that it's selfish and we feel ashamed of being selfish. We're told we're being selfish, or we're told that, you're investing more in yourself than you're investing in anyone else. How dare you? Or what about me? Or whatever. Um, it is important to come back to giving yourself permission to fill up because the more you have, the more you have to give. The more you put inside you, the more there is to share. You don't have to share anything with anyone. But if there are people in your life that you want to share with, how can you share with them if you don't have anything to give? My mom used to say all the time, she would say, how can you love anyone if you don't love yourself? And she would also say, if everybody would take care of themselves, everybody would be taken care of. And I really love both of those statements. They kind of put a lot of accountability on every person's shoulders to, step up and be responsible, which is another one of our subjects. Um, but yeah, I think it's really important if you want to have a happy life and happy people in your life and happy pets in your life and whatever else is going on, you do have to take time to make sure that your needs are met and that your desires, whether that's just having 10 minutes of mindfulness practice or yoga or a cup of tea or coffee in the morning or getting a little bit of exercise, which you've been much needing because you've been sitting all day, whatever it is that you need, if you're taking the time for that. And when somebody else has something that they need, you don't have to bite their heads off because you don't have anything to give, which creates a cycle of destruction as opposed to taking care of yourself and then having somebody approach you for something they need and being like, you know what, honey, I can do that for you. In fact, this is how this is going down. And saying, even in 10 minutes, I will do this for you. Right now, I'm doing this for me, and then I got your back. Simple, but it's also profound in a way that it's something that the mass majority of our culture seems to struggle with because we're caught in the guilt and shame of taking care of ourselves. So, next, we have decide that wherever you are is the right place to be. And she uses this concept of getting into agreement, which I adore. And it's very much that no matter what you do, you're in the right place at the right time. And I love that concept. And it's something that you can choose to believe in. It's not something that you have to prove is true. It's just a choice and a thought process of this is where I'm at and it's right for me right now. I say so. So there. Whether that's your emotions, whether that's your work, whether that's your creativity, whatever it is that you're doing, even just, going through life and functioning, and you have to go to work and you don't want to go to work, those feelings are right for you in that moment. Somebody's outside my window and I'm waving at them because they, oh, got a haircut and it looks very nice. Anyways, um, so we were deciding that wherever you are is the right place to be, getting into agreement and focusing on what's right with your life as opposed to what's wrong with your life. This is something I really like to do. Um, it's a gratitude practice, like this is good. This is good. This is good. This is right. This is right. And maybe something doesn't feel quite right, but it might be right for right now. Like maybe you have a job that you don't want and something else is coming and you're not there yet and you want it. I've been there. I've done that. Um, but just knowing that it is how it is and getting into agreement with how it is right now. Look, it may not be perfect, but I have that financial support. It's reliable. It's this, and this. Just be grateful for the things that are good with it. Be grateful that you have work. Be grateful that you have an income. Be grateful that your bills are paid or that your needs are met or that you can eat a sandwich every day whenever you want to eat a sandwich. It's just, we have so much. And when you focus on all of that goodness, it grows and grows and grows and grows. And it's important to have your focus be in a positive way because what you focus on is what you get. Energy goes where focus flows. Something like that. So, next, love your flesh. Yay for the goddess who loves her flesh. I was at an airport one time and there was this woman, and this has happened a few times in my life, where you just see these women who are wearing these clothes that exude voluptuousness, right? I mean, there's so much curve going on and they're owning it. And you're like, man, she's hot, and I'm not really that into women because I'm a little more hetero and that's fine, but but you see them own their flesh and how phenomenal they look wearing their curves, showing off their curves, strutting in their curves. And you're just like, okay, she knows. She knows she's awesome. She knows she's hot. And I want to be like her. She's amazing. So how do we practice this? What do we do? Take time every day to look in the mirror and love your flesh. You don't even have to be looking in the mirror. Let's say you don't have time for that. Let's say you have to run to work. Maybe while you're sitting on the train, the bus, driving in the car, working your way to work, walking through the parking lot, whatever it is that you're doing, you take a couple minutes every day. Maybe it's the last thing you do right before you fall asleep while you're laying in bed, and just be nice to your flesh. Just say, toes, I love you. And work your way up all the way to the top. You can also, if you are standing in the mirror, look at your goodies. Don't focus on the things that you don't like, but focus on the things that you already like and start to expand on that over time. Because you'll notice the more you find what's right with those things, the more those things will accumulate. You will have, maybe you started with your shoulders and now all of a sudden you like your whole arm. So really take time to just love your flesh. It's so beautiful and it's so lovely, and it's kind of sad that we have to cover it up so much, whether for weather purposes or for shame purposes or for inappropriate or appropriate purposes and location and people and children, whatever we have going on. Body shaming is a thing, and it's your individual job to unbody shame yourself. And if possible, all of the people around you. Remind everybody how beautiful they are. Remind yourself how delicious and scrumptious and gorgeous and perfect you are from head to toe. Because you are. And everything with you is right. And if you are on some path, that path is right for you too. Let's say right now you look one way and you're working towards another way over here. That's great. Right now, you're right where you're supposed to be. And when you get here, that's going to be right where you're supposed to be when you get there. And everything is fine. You're going to be perfect in both locations, and you get to be loved in both locations. I know a lot of women who won't get massages because they're afraid of what the therapist is going to think when they see their bodies. And this breaks my heart because, one, massages are so important. As a massage therapist, I can't tell you how important it is. I can freak out about it and go, "Ah, get a massage, you need one." Physical touch is a huge validation for being human, and we all need physical touch. Even if we were neglected as a child, even if we hate being touched, you need it. You need it more, probably. And it's up to you whether or not you choose to reach out and let that happen. Safe touch, human validation is so healing and so therapeutic and so important that if you deny yourself those little pleasures that are super healing because you don't like the way that you look, girl, I just gotta tell you, you deserve so much better. You deserve so much better. And I also gotta tell you that no matter what your massage therapist is thinking, that's on them. It's not on you. And as a massage therapist, I don't judge my clients for whatever their body type is. I just work on their flesh and love their flesh. That's it. That's all that happens there. I'm not trying to shame them. I have no desire to shame them. I want them to get the therapy and I want to love their body as much as they need it and deserve it. So just know that that's the top priority in my head when that's happening. Girl, woman, goddess, please love your flesh. Please love it enough to get a massage, to get a pedicure, to wear a nice dress, or whatever it is that makes you feel fabulous. Okay, next. Take your daily dose of fun. And I'm going to move through these last ones a little bit quicker because I've got to be somewhere in 15 minutes. So take your daily dose of fun. It's simple. It's simple. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, cut out of work and go get that latte, cut out of work and go get that pedicure. Stay home for a day and just have a mental health day and take care of yourself and do something you really need to do, like watch a movie that makes you cry because you need to cry. Some people do, some people don't. Or go for a walk in nature because you can and because you definitely need that. I know a lot of people not a lot of people, I know one person who won't go for a walk in nature because she has a lot of phobias about bugs and she just can't stand being in nature because of bugs. Okay, that's all right. Do what that's for her. It is a way to avoid really nurturing herself, and she's got a lot of fears that she's got to work past, and that's her business. She'll get to it when she gets to it. But if you don't have stuff like that in the way, please take that time for yourself to spend time in nature. Just like getting a massage, nature is a huge part of a therapeutic and healing process. And generally, it's free. Going to the park is free. Going for a walk outdoors is free. Going for a bike ride, generally free if you already have a bike. So please take time every day to just have some fun. Even if it's flirting, even if you just see a cute guy or a cute girl, whatever you're into, and you give them that look, and you're like, hey, you have no intention of taking their number, calling them, talking to them, whatever, but you give them a wink and they wink back, or you see how much they light up because you did that. Do it in a safe place where you don't actually have to take them home. Maybe they're stuck working behind a counter somewhere so that you know that they can't follow you. Choose wisely or be surrounded by a bunch of people that can keep you in that protective bubble if you're worried about that. But incorporate this fun because it's fun. It's just a good time. Flirt with your partner at home. Put a little extra effort into that because it's so easy to get lost in our day-to-day grind that we forget to nurture that relationship. And nurturing that home relationship is just as important as nurturing you. So put a little love there and notice what you get back. That's a lot of fun. Same goes with your kids. Keep thinking about that. Expose what you truly feel. Okay, so this one is fun because most of us aren't really aware of what we truly feel. We often are caught in a irrational thought process of disillusionment, right? And we think that we're angry at somebody else for doing something, but what's really going on is we're afraid of something inside ourselves. And sometimes it just pays to look at that. What's the emotion that's showing that's secondary, and what's the real emotion that's causing this emotion? But even if what you're going to focus on is just the secondary emotion, look at it, acknowledge it, agree with it, allow yourself to feel that. And even if you're willing to, take a few deep breaths into it. You would be surprised at how simple it is to shift your emotion just by breathing into it and saying yes to having that emotion. So simple and so profound, and an easy way to shift if you want to be in a better mood. Otherwise, it's okay to just have that mood and allow yourself to feel that and allow yourself to acknowledge that you're having that mood. So, this is nice because it gets you in touch with who you actually are throughout the day. Mama Gina has an exercise where she has you check in every day for like a week, every hour on the hour, maybe setting your clock to ping at you and remind you to check in with how you're feeling at that moment, and then to just get into agreement with it. I would add, breathe into it and say yes to it. Um, and then just see what happens and enjoy having that feeling for a moment, even if it's terror, even if it's fear or sadness or heartache or whatever. Just enjoy the fact that you can have feelings. And one of the things I do when I'm processing emotions is I'll say, it's okay to have this feeling. Just because I have this feeling doesn't make it true or doesn't make it real. I mean, it's a real feeling, but the scenario in my head going on around it, usually based on irrational thought processes, isn't necessarily true. The emotion is real, but the reality is questionable. A lot of the time, is this person really attacking you, or are they just attacking themselves and you're mirroring what's going on there? I mean, it could be either. They could really be attacking you, and if that's the case, is it about you even still, or is it about them? Who knows? But you can challenge it and you can question it, and you can just allow yourself to have that experience. Let it be part of the human experience. Um, and this goes for joy too. You know, you're having a blissful moment. Just feel what that feels like to feel bliss and breathe into that and just enjoy it for a moment. Say yes to that feeling, or peace, or contentment, or creativity and inspiration. Those are all I mean, there's a wide array of feelings that are meant to be felt. Um, and then exposing it. So, openly talking about what that is to yourself or the people around you. So, don't try to hide what you're truly feeling. Be honest about what you're truly feeling to the best of your ability. Okay, 2 more to go. 1, be responsible for fulfilling your desires. Instead of expecting everybody else to make you happy and read your mind, irrational thinking, please take responsibility for your thoughts, your feelings, and your desires. If you want a donut, don't get mad that your partner didn't bring you home a donut, even though they brought themselves one. Go out and get one. You can do it, or grab one on your way out the next time you're going out, wherever it is that opportunity is. Take time for yourself to do it. Don't be mad at somebody else for not forethinking. If you actually want something, sometimes you don't know you want it until it's in front of your face. Put the effort into making that happen. If you don't voice what it is that you want, how will other people know? Please don't expect other people to be responsible for fulfilling your desires, even when you ask for something. You can't control what other people do. You can control what you do. And if you're setting your expectations, be prepared to be let down, because sometimes things happen where that doesn't work out. But if you don't get upset about it and you just say, okay, that didn't work out, I'm going to find another way to make this happen, you have all the control over what's going to happen with you. You're not reacting, you're acting. You're making your choices, and you're going out and getting what you desire, which is really important, and it sets everybody up for success as opposed to failure, which is what happens when you make your joy somebody else's responsibility. Next, follow your divine intuition. I love this because it's so exceptionally important. It's as simple as knowing when to say yes and when to say no, because your gut or some other feeling is saying, mm-mm, or oh yeah, definitely. Um, it's just a whisper in the back of your head when you need to check in with something or say no to something or whatever. And sometimes it'll be as simple as just noticing the signs around you. For example, you run into every red light on your way to somewhere. That may be an indicator that maybe you should turn around and go home. Maybe. Ask. Get a feel for it. Just ask your gut. Is that what this means? Should I go home? Should I be done here? If it says yes, then go home. Go home. Learn to listen. Learn to ask questions. You can ask your gut questions. You can ask your intuition. You can ask your third eye. You can ask your guides, your God, your higher self. You can ask and get answers. So, this is important for following your divine intuition and learning how to trust. The more you ask, the more you're going to learn that you get answers. Please explore that. It's awesome. You have that gift, you have that ability, and everything is naturally installed in you. And the only way to develop that skill is by practicing it, just like everything else we talked about today. So I'm going to go over that list again real quick, and then we'll finish up. So the list, all you have to do is to choose to feel good. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Pleasure comes from giving yourself permission to explore appetites freely with no guilt. It's very important. Do not guilt and do not shame yourself. And if you can, try to avoid doing it to other people as well. The more filled up you are, the more you have to give. Decide that wherever you are is the right place to be. Love your flesh. Take your daily dose of fun. Expose what you truly feel. Be responsible. Fulfill your desires. Follow your divine intuition. So that's all that we covered today. Compliments of Mama Gina's School of Womanly Arts, written by Regina Thomasschauer. You can find that book on Amazon. And also on her website. If you look up Womanly Arts, you'll go right to it. And that's that. So thank you so much for watching, sharing, or liking this. If you want more information about the Go Goddess Academy or my Goddess Coaching Practice, you can go to gogoddessacademy.com. Yeah, I believe that's what my website is. That's funny. You can also find me on Facebook and also on Twitch, Go Goddess Academy, or on Facebook, it's Brooks Goddess Academy. So thank you so much and have a beautiful day. I'm ending this stream now.